to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is the Question Keeper himself, Kyle JCRB Kraus.
Yes, I am here, and I have all the questions. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. I have a lot of questions for you, Ian. A lot of questions.
Well, that's good. That's what the show's about now.
Oh, well, crap. What am I going to do with all these questions? I guess I'll have to ask them to you.
And by God, I shall answer them. But first,
Okay.
I want to say thank you to the patrons. I am currently recording on a brand new microphone that is only possible through your patronage. Thank you for taking the bite out of that business expense. It is deeply appreciated.
Yes. We're still working out some of the kinks, so depending on how things are going and depending on what you may hear, it may sound different and interesting. So, but once we get all that stuff worked out, it'll be fine. So just bear with us and we'll be good to go. So yes, thank you.
And considering all the kinks I've had, it'll take a while to work them out. Anyway, another thing is, doggone it, we've moved to a weekly schedule, and we're still going to be behind on the news because the next Smash Brothers character is going to be unveiled not only the same Monday that this episode comes out, but the exact same time.
Yay! We did it! Perfect. Thank you, Nintendo. What are you doing? You gotta have Nintendo. Let me level with you here. See, BumbleKast. You are aware of the BumbleKast, right, Nintendo? You gotta schedule around the BumbleKast. You gotta schedule everything around the BumbleKast, and that goes for everybody. Everybody should be scheduling everything around the BumbleKast, because the only thing you should be doing when the BumbleKast releases is listening to the BumbleKast.
I understand that Smash Brothers is one of their weaker titles and needs all the support it can get.
Correct.
But we literally have dozens of listeners, and they can't be distracted by whatever this ARMS nonsense is. Dark Horse, please don't fire me. I still enjoy the project.
Well, the project's done, so what do they care?
Well, that's
true.
I
mean, you already wrote it at least.
I don't know. Maybe there'll be some last-minute revisions. Oh, yes, we did approve Book 3, but actually we don't like it. Do it over. Oh, okay.
I don't even know how many books it's supposed to be.
Well, then, you're in for a surprise.
Uh-oh.
But this show isn't necessarily about surprises. It's about lifting the veil off the mysteries. You ask the questions, we bring the answers. And how do you get your questions answered? Why? You email us at BumbleKast@yahoo.com. You tweet to us at BumbleKast. You ask questions on the Patreon page. That's patreon.com/BumbleKast. Message, post, whatever. Comment in any of the YouTube videos. Or if you're a patron, head over to the Discord channel and ask in the Q&A channel itself. Lots of ways. Plus, if you want to jump to the head of the list, you can buy priority by becoming a $5 patron over at patreon.com/BumbleKast or sending us $5 via Ko-Fi. That's ko-fi.com/BumbleKast. Be sure to include your name and your question, because otherwise we're just going to get $5 and we will laugh into the night with it.
Yes.
I should not push my voice that much that fast.
All right, don't forget the rules, folks. If your question hasn't been answered within the last few episodes, is on the FAQ over at bumbleking.com, or is about past Sonic plans, we likely won't answer it, or at least it will be a very unsatisfactory answer. If your question hasn't been answered in a while, check those places. All right, let's get into it. Straight off with priority Q&A. Starting off with Andrew D. In Archie Mega Man, when Xander winds up traveling through time, he sees the events of Worlds Collide. Since those events took place in the future, what would have happened when Mega Man reached that point in time? Would he have been destined to relive those events?
You're getting your time travel confused. For what Xander saw was the timeline. So for Mega Man, those events already happened to him, which is to say, those events were already set in the canon. So Mega Man wouldn't be revisiting those moments. He would be reaching those moments and living through them as the natural progression of the timeline.
Time travel is weird. Next question comes from Soni. Sega seems to be pushing Zavok and the Zeti a lot in many titles after Lost World. Do you think it's a good idea on Sega's part to keep the Zeti around?
Love them or hate them, they are something different. We have had Eggman as the bad for the longest time. And yeah, we've had other antagonists like Chaos and BioLizard and Black Doom and yada, yada, yada. But they've all been one-shot wonders. They are the final boss. They are the plot contrivance, and then they're out of the way. The threat has always been Dr. Eggman. And one of the things we've done in the comics, multiple titles over the years, different publishers, different writers, is introduce other antagonistic elements to spice it up, because if it's Eggman every single time, it gets a little tiresome. So in that regard, yeah, the Deadly Six should be utilized. In what way and to what degree is up for debate. I am not 100% set on it myself. Personally, I kind of feel like they're the Koopalings, but not as well executed. I don't know. I prefer to look at what we have in the franchise and utilize it. So even if it's not necessarily the best addition initially, I feel like it should be revised and used instead of just throwing new stuff every single game and forgetting about it for the next title.
Alrighty. And finally, for the priority Q&A at least, we got one from Diane W. What if Bunnie got infected with the metal virus? Since the metal virus cannot infect something that's already metal, what would happen to her robotic limbs? Will they remain on her as a zombot, or would they fall off and new limbs grow in their place as the metal virus can heal damage that the zombots take?
It would just infect the biological half or part. I don't know how you want to bisect Bunnie on this. God, that's just gruesomely worded. Anyway, metal virus doesn't grow back what's already been lost. It repairs damage that is done to the already infected individual. And Bunnie didn't lose her limbs. They were roboticized. They are still part of her. So it would just go so far as the roboticized limbs and stop. Now, if you're going by the Ben Hurst interpretation of robotization and that the mechanical parts are a shell over the organic bits, then it would seep under the shell and infect the gooey bits that were inside. But if you're talking about the comic version, which was a full one-to-one molecular conversion, it would just not get past the robotic bits. It would just stop. It would just be there.
Kind of makes sense, actually. All right. With that, we're ready to get off into the standard Q&A. First up, we got one from Omega Markus. If IDW put you in charge of doing a Dragon Ball comic book, how would you have writing it, and what era of the characters would you use? The Kid Goku era of the characters, or the Z era of the characters like Sayian, Frieza, Cell, or Buu arc, or have it take place after one of the Z movies? How would you handle a crossover with Sonic and Dragon Ball? There was almost no punctuation in that, by the way. But it's okay. I made it.
That would depend on the nature of the comic. I can't imagine that IDW gets the Dragon Ball license. Let's just say, let's take that for granted. I cannot imagine that they would give us the latitude to just do a different Dragon Ball. And with Super continuing the storyline now in a official capacity, I can't imagine them allowing us to do any kind of different spin-off. I don't know. It would depend on the nature of the book. If you mean like do a Western adaptation, kind of like how the Sonic comics are an adaptation of the game material, I don't know. That's a very different form of media, because it's not like there's a lot of wiggle room. Dragon Ball to Z to Super tells a pretty coherent, well, at least a linear story. There is a storyline there. That's it. That's the core. That's the story. To adapt it any other way, I mean, that might be fun as a what if scenario, but I don't know. That would be weird.
Just have them travel. Have Dragon Ball Z characters travel to Sonic's world. Problem sidestepped. Not solved.
If we're gonna do a crossover, I don't know how exactly we would do, but I would love to just point out all the parallels and just lampshade the whole thing.
Of course, you got to have the 7 Chaos Emeralds / 7 Dragon Balls. You
Piccolo and Knuckles standing off on a mountaintop, arms crossed, looking dour, wishing they were relevant.
Super Sonic and Super Saiyan. That's a pretty obvious parallel.
Yeah.
I forget what else, but I mean, there's definitely a lot of parallels there.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, the inspiration for Sonic, a lot of what Sonic was built on, is pretty clear. So you can really have some fun with that, I think.
The whole issue is resolved because Beerus's insatiable appetite is solved by Big the cat constantly fishing.
And you gotta have like Goku, or you gotta have Vegeta versus Shadow. Because, I mean, of course. That would be good. I think that would be pretty fun. Won't happen, but it's pretty fun to think about.
Have Sonic and Shadow do the fusion dance and become Sonado, and everyone who Googles it without the safe search on gets a wild surprise.
Oh, no, Ian.
Yes.
Are we allowed to talk about this? I don't know if we're allowed to talk about this.
Oh, come on, Kyle. They're listening to this show. They know what's going on.
I suppose. Anyway.
You can't be a Sonic fan this long without having seen every corner of the internet.
Well, yeah, for as long as we've been Sonic fans, yes.
And if not, if this is all news to you, welcome to your trial by fire. Buckle up. The ride never ends. Alrighty. Let's get into one from TBF. What were your greatest struggles in your lives, and how did you manage to overcome them? TBF coming out of nowhere with the heavy one.
Yeah.
I usually do all the answering, so Kyle, you want to go first?
I suppose. Jeez, it's tough because I could think of a few, and yet they don't seem. In retrospect, they seem a lot less of a big deal than they were at the time. But I did go through a rough patch. Geez, about 4 or 5 years ago. So not long before we started the show, actually. Actually, probably 2014 was when it really started. I've dealt with anxiety and depression issues for most of my adult life. But I had never really been treated or anything for them. So I recognized them. I knew I had them, but I ended up trying to power through them on my own, which was not always the greatest idea. And eventually, in that time frame, it started to catch up with me, and I felt like things were kind of falling apart in my life. And eventually, my anxiety was so bad that it just got to a point where I needed to do something. I needed to go somewhere because it was to a point where I felt like I wanted to die. Like I wanted to kill myself. So I will be straight up forward up front with that. And I knew that wasn't right. I knew that was a problem. So I finally got medicated, finally got a little bit of help and got myself balanced out. And I won't lie, there's still some anxiety issues, not nearly as bad as they used to be, but they do still exist. It's not a perfect cure-all, but it really helps to kind of level out, just step back and, realize that not everything is, or that I want to say that there is help. There are people in your life who can help you, or there are people you can reach out to. There's all sorts of things out there. Thankfully, mental health issues have become more of a talking point these days. So, but it's still tough. It's still tough to understand and acknowledge that you do have a problem, essentially, and that you need to get it corrected. So that's one of the things that I struggled with and managed to overcome, but it's still a bit of a battle every day. So a little bit of a battle, but it's still overcoming it. I'm in the process, I would say. So, but things are good now. I'm feeling all right. So how about you, Ian?
I guess it becomes a question of how do you define overcome? Because I don't think I have.
Well,
honest.
That's what I was saying too. It's a constant battle, is what I feel like.
Like, I don't have any kind of clinical diagnosis, but going off of the symptoms that I've seen listed, I'm fairly certain I've got some form of anxiety and or depression that probably should be looked at by a specialist, but who has the time or money for that these days, especially since we can't go outside?
Yeah.
Self-esteem and comfort in social areas has been a tough one. Truth be told, when I was working for a fast food chain just to, get the bills paid, the manager sent me out to a number of locations to try to get them interested in doing takeout stuff for faculty or for school functions or whatnot. And for the most part, that was okay. I mean, I had to swallow a lump every time I had to go into a strange place to find a strange person to pitch them, food out of the blue, because there were no phone numbers and he just wanted me out there like that. But there was a high school I went to, and I've not been in a high school for at least 15 years. And the moment I saw the lockers and the other high school students, it was like I was back in high school, and my heart was racing, and I felt panicked and trapped and just irrationally angry, to the point where I didn't realize just how unhappy I was back then until I have context. So, and then, I kind of mentally slapped myself saying, you're a grown-ass man in high school. They don't care about you. They don't even look at you. Just get your job done. And that helped. Funny comparison, though, is that doing conventions, which you would think would be absolutely paralyzing because you're in front of dozens, if not hundreds of strangers for days on end, it's different because behind the table, engaging with people who are coming to you, whether it's blind curiosity or because they actively want to see you because they like you, gives me this kind of sense of being a performer. It's like being on the stage again. And I can act, no problem. If I'm, it's not that, if you come to see me at the show, you're not getting the real Flynn experience. That's just silly. But it's a different mindset. You engage with someone across the table differently than you would in the hallway or on the street. And being in that kind of performance area, so to speak, is comforting and empowering. Another issue I've had to deal with is weight gain, and I have been losing that battle for years. And still working on fixing that. Kind of hard to do the aerobics when I immediately start wheezing after any amount of physical activity. But, just take it as it comes and do what you can. Eat better. Do what little you can when you can, and try to make progress, because as with your fun times, as long as you're fighting, it's something. The minute you give up, that's no good.
Yep.
So no real insightful, sagely advice here other than just keep at it.
That's kind of funny, though. I feel like me and you have had very similar struggles and things we deal with. Maybe that's why we get along so well. I don't know.
That or we came from the same clone vat.
That's possible.
So does that make me
the only thing
solid Ian, or am I liquid Kyle?
Yes. I do. The one thing I don't have is the anxiety about high school that you do. I actually had a really good time in high school, and I
jerk.
liked it.
I have realized as I have gone through life afterwards that I was very lucky, and that is not the common experience for most people, and that high school is a very terrible experience for most people. But I don't know what it was. I happened to just go through high school a lot better than it seems like a lot of other people did. So, college, on the other hand, I didn't quite fare quite as well. The first time I went to college, I ended up dropping out after a year. And then later on, I eventually got through, but it took me a while, and it was tough. So I don't know what it was that was the difference there, but it might have been also that I was older, and that's when things started to really... I don't know what it was. It seems like after I got out of high school is when things started to... The chemical issues in my brain started to really crop up. So I don't know what it was exactly, but either way, I don't have any great advice either, other than to, just keep working at it and keep fighting, and, you'll make it. And be like Kyle, seek help. There is no shame in seeking help.
Right. All right. Let's get into something a bit lighter.
Please.
Here we go. Here's one from Pink H. Are the Zone Cops / Core going to be returning at all? I found them rather interesting in their role, and how they also introduced a vast multiverse full of various zones and great potential. Plus, we never got to see Zone Cop Zeto. So I'm curious if they are going to come back at some point.
Nope. They are under the universal blanket of who knows if they are a legal issue or not. So they are gone skis. Like, in the past, I've trotted out the maybe, because you never know when something will happen. Somebody plays nice, or some legal dispute is finalized or whatnot. But I feel like that kind of answer is bringing on false hope. So I think I should start switching gears to just assuming, take the Occam's razor route. Just no. Now, if it changes down the line and I am proven wrong, cool. I would be happy to be wrong. But no, you can pretty much assume anything pre-reboot Archie will never see the light of day again. And anything post-reboot will very mostly not likely ever see any kind of usage outside of maybe a reprint.
So that's... I don't know if that's exactly what they were getting. Maybe they were thinking like an organization similar to the Zone Cops or something like that. But I mean, they didn't say that. So,
I mean, they specifically asked about Zone Cop Shadow, so
right.
I'm assuming they mean specifically that continuity's Zone Cops.
Sure. And finally, to close us out, we have a very prolific question asker who asks many questions. Very, very, very many questions. So, as a tribute to them, we're going to play 20 questions, Ian.
Okay.
We're going to play 20 questions with James M. Now,
okay.
Now, the goal of this is to answer these questions with one-word answers only. That's the thing here. No going into explanations, nothing. Just one-word explanations or one-word answers.
What if I want to give an explanation?
Nope.
But okay. Fine.
One-word answers.
Fire away.
We don't have time for all these explanations to 20 questions.
You're the one who put 20 questions into the end of this.
I know, I did, but we don't have time for 20 questions with full answers. We just need the straight facts, Ian. That's all we need.
Okay, fine. You're belaboring the point. Go, do it.
Okay, here we go. 20 questions with James M. Here we go. Here's the first one. Ian, can IDW Sonic fight an evil non-Robo-Twin version of himself?
Maybe.
Ian, are you looking into the Archie Sonic online fan comic?
No.
Ian, did you know the Sonic Underground epilogue will be done by fans?
No.
Ian, does IDW Eggman have black and red Sayian Robotnik eyes beneath his glasses?
No.
Ian, do you feel Charmy the Bee is the worst Sonic character?
No.
Ian, do you think Sonic could beat the Schwarzenegger Terminator T-800?
Yes.
Ian, if SEGA gave the all-clear for IDW to continue and complete unfinished Archie Sonic stories, will you be happy?
Maybe. Depends on the...
Nope. Nope. One word. One word. That's all I said. It was one word. Ian, would you be willing to write Terminator comics for Dark Horse if hired?
Yes.
Ian, had the lawsuit and reboot never happened, was Dr. Finitivus, am I saying that right?
Yep.
Going to be seen in the Archie Sonic universe again?
Yes.
Ian, did you have anything planned for if the Archie Sonic comics were going to have a big finale?
No, they weren't going to have it.
Nope, no. Bad, Ian, bad. Whap you with the newspaper. Ian, do you think Shadow and Rouge would have made a great couple?
Maybe.
Ian, do Shadow and Rouge have any romantic feelings for each other, or are they just friends?
Yeah, according to SEGA, neither.
Ian, was the Shattered World arc originally going to be a Sonic Unleashed sequel, just as Shadowfall in Sonic Universe was Shadow the Hedgehog 2?
No, and Shadowfall wasn't a sequel.
Nope. Ian, did IDW Gerald create IDW Shadow?
Yes.
Ian, is there a chance we might see the IDW version of Blaze's World and Marine in the comic's lifespan?
Yes.
Ian, did Classic Sonic show up during the IDW version of Sonic Forces?
Yes.
Ian, would you be willing to work alongside Ken Penders with his own comics if he asked you?
No.
Ian, when or if IDW starts churning out content related to the other Sonic media like Archie Sonic, is there a chance you might be able to fulfill your old promise of doing more Sonic Boom comic stories?
No, and I never made such a promise.
No, that's more than one word, but okay, I'll allow it. I'll allow it. You already said it anyway. It's not like I'm going to edit it out or anything. Ian, if Rough and Tumble are the Bebop and Rocksteady of IDW Sonic, does that make Starline and Eggman the Krang and Shredder of Sonic's world?
No.
Also, I want to say Beat Bop. It's pretty funny. Does IDW Eggman have any relatives like his grandpa, Gerald Robotnik?
Canonically, no, but I mean...
Nope. Ian, which bad guy is scarier, Mephiles or Black Doom?
Okay, no, I'm answering this one.
Okay,
you can't
fine.
stop me.
Okay, it's the last one, so go for it.
Okay, I'm going to say Black Doom. Because yes, Mephiles is by far more powerful. But Mephiles' end game is to eradicate all space-time. So if Mephiles were to succeed, there would be nothing. You would not have any moment to fear. You would not have any moment to feel pain. It would just be gone. There would be nothing. The summation of who you are and all that you hoped and dreamed of would just be gone, which is a scary thing, but it would be painless because you're just gone. There is no, but what if? It's just gone. That's it.
So was his plan to live outside of time or something? I don't understand. Was his plan to live outside of time or something, or did he want to destroy himself too?
No, he wanted to become one with Iblis again and recreate Solaris, and then Solaris set out to eradicate all space-time because he was cranky.
Okay. Sure.
Maybe.
This is Sonic 06 we're talking about, so yeah. Whatever.
Black Doom wanted to feed all of humanity to his little podlings.
Nom, nom, nom.
And to do that, he spread a nerve agent across the planet that paralyzed people, but they were still aware.
Ooh.
So imagine a, softball-sized slug with giant razor-sharp pincers slowly crawling its way up you and just eating away. And you can't do anything, but you are aware of it. That is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
I will take the end of existence with zero pain or memory well before being eaten alive by a space slug. Black Doom, easily.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Holy crap. Yeah, Mephiles is like, just time and space cease to exist. All right, you're just gone. Blink, gone.
I will walk through 5 high schools before I have to get eaten by a slug. Thank you very much.
I mean, I don't want to go back to high school necessarily. But, I don't know. I'd rather go back to high school than get eaten by Black Doom's slugs.
Yeah,
so
God.
Let's say that. And that's it. That's all we got. That's all we got.
All right. Kyle, for penance of making me go through 20 questions, one word only, you get to thank all our wonderful patrons for supporting the show.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's fine. Let me just pull it up here. Pull up the list. I can totally do that. I can vamp better than anybody. Better than you've ever heard in your life. That's what I'm doing right now. All right. Big thanks to all the patrons who help make this show possible. Starting off with Daniel H., Alex P., Connell T., Andrew D., Blue Title Gamer, Chris A., Crooker, Diane W., John B., Koopaling Crew, Mathan S., Salute Your Cat, Sin Fritz, Chauvel, Dave M., Don B., Digama F. Wow, Dwiz Diz Din, Frederick, Jennifer H., Jennifer R., John M., Justin G., Justin S., Lee H.K., Lisa M., Scruffy Matt, Mike B., Owen B.D., Preston M., Sam Cybercat, Samuel P., Silly String, Torchbound, Tucaro, and Final Neil. Thank you, everybody, for your patronage and for helping us out and supporting us. What about you, Ian? Where can the people find you after they listen to this fine, fine podcast?
Head on over to BumbleKing.com. That has my full portfolio, release schedule, calendar, and all sorts of wonderful links. Also, check out my free online comic with Sonic veteran artist Adam Bryce Thomas. It's called Drogoon, DROGUNE.com. We actually have a bit of a hiatus coming up in the next few weeks, but there will be content to tide you over, especially if you're a patron. So head over to patreon.com/Drogoon to see what that's all about. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at IanFlynnBKC, where I retweet pretty much all the news stuff that's coming out comic-wise and the occasional bit of frivolity. Kyle, where can the people find you?
You can head on over to kngi.org, where you can find archived episodes of the BumbleKast in MP3 downloadable format. You can also find my other show, Nitro Game Injection, which is a video game music show dedicated to the fans who create video game music arrangements, remixes, covers, all that fun stuff. You can also listen to it streaming live on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time right over there at kngi.org/listen. And you can also follow me on Twitter at KyleJCRB. Where I post things that nobody cares about, and that's fine. I have not been embroiled in any sort of Twitter controversy or anything.
Actually, you're just not trying hard enough.
You're right, I'm not. I've been deliberately somewhat trying to avoid some of them, except not entirely, but I think it's just people don't care. So it's fine. I have managed to skate underneath the radar all the time. It's perfect.
And that honestly is kind of what I wish I could do sometimes. Anyway, you can follow the show on Twitter at BumbleKast. Contact us at BumbleKast@yahoo.com. You can listen to our episodes on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, kngi.org, all sorts of lovely places.
And don't forget to also check out the Bumble Store at shop.spreadshirt.com/Bumble Store, where you can get yourself some Bumble gear and Bumble accessories and so all sorts of other things emblazoned with our logo and our cartoony faces. And I think that's it. And the logo. I said the logo, didn't I?
You did say multiple logos.
Well, I'm saying logo again because we have more than one logo, I guess. I think. Do we have more than one logo? Kind of. They're all very similar logos, but that's fine. You don't think about it too hard. Just go over there and buy. Shop.spreadshirt.com/Bumble Store.
If there's something in particular you want to see us put on there, let us know. We are quite ready and willing to sell out.
Do you want a poster of, I don't know, something? We can make that, maybe. I don't know. Do they do posters? They probably do. It would make sense.
I'd have to check it again. It's been a while since anyone actually touched it. Anyway, you can join us for BumbleKast Gaming Live, which we stream on twitch.tv/BumbleKast Gaming, Sundays around 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as other times that I have forgotten. And we need to update this template so that I can not have to actually learn when we broadcast. And Kyle, you're going to have to cut all this out because I'm just rambling because I'm on the spot and I've completely botched this take.
It's Wednesday and Friday at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Pacific time, which is midnight Thursday and Saturday at Eastern time. Is that what I said? Yeah, I think I said that. It's all those things and more. Yeah, so we're over there. We're playing video games. I've been playing a lot of Sonic lately because clearly the people want a whole heck of a lot of Sonic. But I might be splitting it up and doing some other stuff in between as well. So I don't want to just be Sonic all the time as much as it's that's like what people mainly seem to tune in for is Sonic stuff. But I gotta do something else once in a while too. So. Anyway, keep an eye out over there and see what games we're playing and all that good stuff. And, check it out.
That's going to wrap us up for this episode of BKQ&A. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Until then, be safe, be well, support your friends and family because these are some crazy times.
Be safe, be well, and be BumbleKast. And be movie. It was a thing I never saw.
Yeah, I didn't waste my money on it either.
I think that that's a Gen Z thing. As a millennial, I completely missed a boat on that.
And that's okay.
I suppose.
One might say, I did get what all the buzz was about.
Oh. BumbleKast, except every time Kyle says Ian, the show gets faster. Especially on this episode.
Oh my god. It'd be unintelligible. More so than we usually are.
That's probably the best thing to come out of that movie, honestly, is that meme. But I did hear Lee in the background getting angry at a cat, so.
Yes, the cat is running around jumping on things, so.
Okay. What's a cat? That's what it does.
It is.
That's what you bought it for, I assume.
To a degree, yes. It's just you can't really control when it goes nuts.
That's the problem with animals.
Yeah.
With their own free will.
Hey, hon? Huh? The new mic is picking up the TV. Can you bump it down a little bit? Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
Kyle says sorry.
He's not sorry.
I'm not sorry. No, I'm sorry.
I'm not repeating that. I value my life.
Now she's going to be like, what did you say?
All I know is that Betty bought a bit of bitter butter.
There we go. Okay, good. Okay. Sorry for making you waste your voice on crap.
No, that's fine. Thanks for coming, everybody. We'll see you next week for our next episode.
Yep. That's it. We're done. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. So, and it's great. It's
bananas.
Oh, banana.